Pittsburgh Steelers totally rebuilt this quarterback room ahead of the 2024 season. And where does that leave them moving forward? And what are the Pittsburgh Steelers' plans long term? Or do they even have one? Welcome back to Mike Drop Sports, everybody. I'm Jason. Welcome to our Thursday show. Let's dive into this quarterback room just a little bit and really break it down a little bit on what we think the Steelers' long-term goal is going to be with these two quarterbacks that they brought in. Yes, they brought in Kyle Allen, but I'm not putting him into this equation. I'm only using Russell Wilson and Justin Fields in terms of what I'm talking about whenever I'm trying to figure out what their long-term plan may be and what their plans are for this immediate season here in 2024 that is rapidly approaching. You have already started your offseason conditioning programs. The draft is a week away. Those things are really in full swing. Then you're going to have your OTAs and mini camps. Those are all going to be happening here before too long. So if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, you're going to have to ask yourself the question, how do we get this taken care of and kind of secure our future just a little bit to ensure one of these guys are here for 2025. One of these guys maybe has the pole position, as Mike Tomlin liked to call it, and Russell Wilson. So what do you do with Russell, a guy that's getting paid by the Denver Broncos $38 million? The Steelers on the hook for like 1.275, something like that, the veteran minimum. And if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, you look like, hey, man, that's a pretty good situation to be in. Russell Wilson, cheap. Justin Fields, cheap right now. But what is your long-term plan? Russell Wilson is that guy in the immediate. Yes, he is going to be that bridge, but is he only going to be that bridge? When, if you're Mike Tomlin, Omar Khan, Andy Weidel, Art Rooney, when do you say to yourself, maybe if Russell was just average, Russell is just being okay? Yes, they're winning some games, but they're not lighting the world on fire. They're not really being, tops in the AFC North. They're not really being that ultimate competitive team that they're looking for. When do you say to yourself, if you're Mike Tomlin, hey, average isn't good enough. Let's give the kid and Justin Fields a chance because he has some more upside. I'm not sure when that will take place, but if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, you look at it this way. Justin Fields probably doesn't have the opportunity to upend Russell Wilson here in the offseason. There's just not enough reps. There's not enough opportunity probably for Justin Fields to be able to control his own destiny in terms of being the starting quarterback for the 2024 season. And then how do you work Justin Fields' contract, a guy that is pre-made too, that you have to figure out whether you're going to designate that fifth-year option for a guy like Justin Fields? What do you do there? In my eyes, I think you need to figure out a deal that isn't that fifth-year option. I think pre-made too, you need to figure out, if it's allowed, I think it is, a one-year deal maybe, that gives Justin Fields maybe, $8 to $10 million for 1 year, secures him to be there in Pittsburgh for the 2025 season. You're not breaking the bank again with the quarterback salary, which you haven't for a long time since the departure of one Ben Roethlisberger. So you continue that trend. You have Justin Fields maybe locked down for that 2025 season, which maybe that is his opportunity to shine. But what do you do with Russell Wilson? That's the question. Is this just going to be a one-year bridge? Is he going to ever be the long-term answer? Or would you just wait and say to yourself, hey, let's get Justin. We'll know we'll have him as the backup regardless. And if Russell needs to come back, he lights the world on fire. He gets the Steelers, to a championship game or, God forbid, the Super Bowl, which would be really cool. But does those types of things. Then you figure out what you need to do with Russell Wilson and try to figure out what you need to do in terms of money. And I think Russell is at the part of his career to where he wouldn't maybe have to take that maximum amount of money that he would be due. I think that he would be more of a team-friendly type guy and try to make sure and ensure that he has a quality team around him and understand that they would maybe have possibly paid Justin Fields a little bit of money. And then, maybe work it out to where those two combined, Justin and Russell, would be, getting up there toward like the $30-40 million mark for 2025. That may work for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I don't think they're going to go out and break the bank and force an extension with Russell Wilson in any way, even if he lights the world on fire, because I think if they can sign Justin Fields, that gives them the out, that gives them the options that are needed in order to secure this franchise's future. And I think if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, you're hoping that Justin Fields is able to emerge as the front runner, emerge as the franchise quarterback. I think that that's where you're really trying to lean. That's where you're putting all your hopes. And it's nothing against Russell Wilson. It's not a knock on Russell Wilson, but when you are going to be 36 years old during the season, you're probably not going to be included in those long-term plans. And I think if you're the Steelers, that's the smart thing to do. He was born in 1988 on November 29th. He sits at 35 years old right now, coming off a season to where he had a 66, almost 67% completion rating, throwing for 370 yards, 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and a 98% quarterback rating. You look at that, that's pretty much an average throughout the year. That was an average year for Russell Wilson. He's had way better years in Seattle. But you're putting Russell back in a situation to where it's similar to what Seattle had. A good defense, a ball control type offense, allow Russell to hit those splash plays. So we'll see. But I just don't think Russell Wilson can get upended here during the preseason, during the OTAs, mini camps, training camps. I don't think that there's going to be an opportunity for Justin Fields to upend Russell Wilson and take that starting job from him. I think it's going to have to play out during the season. And I think if you're the Steelers, you need to continue to play this smart. You haven't had to pay those inflated quarterback salaries, and I think you need to continue that trend until you figure out exactly who you're going to be confident in and who you're going to put all your faith in moving forward. Somebody that you're going to be able to say, man, hey, I think he's going to be the guy. Yes, he's going to have some rough patches, but I think we're going to be able to be confident enough in that guy that we're going to be able to back him for the long term. I don't think Russell Wilson is in those plans. I think Russell Wilson was brought in here to be a mentor, be a guiding light for a younger quarterback. And maybe they thought that was going to be Kenny Pickett, but he showed his true colors. He showed to be a coward. He showed that he didn't want to fight for his job. He showed that he didn't have that intestinal fortitude to battle somebody like Russell Wilson, to figure out how to get better and how to gain your job back through adversity to make yourself stronger. He wasn't that guy. But then you see them bring Justin Fields in. According to many, it was as per request of Justin Fields to come to Pittsburgh. So maybe if you're Justin Fields, you're already invested in this and you already realize what the long-term situation can play out to be and how this could truly benefit you and the franchise. And maybe Justin Fields already had the understanding. Hey, when you come here, we're not going to exercise that fifth-year option, Justin. We're going to give you a one-year deal, maybe a two-year deal, something along those lines, on a little bit of a reduced rate to be able to keep you here a little bit, let you grow, and figure out what the future holds. You're only going into year 4. Let's get you to about year 5 when you should have fully blossomed by then, and we'll see how this all goes. And I think that that's the game plan for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I know we've read a lot into it. I know we've done, a lot of talking about how this is all going to transpire. But you see the Steelers facing that pre-May 2 fifth-year option designation period for Russell Wilson. And they face it for Najee Harris too. But you look at this quarterback room, which is the most important in the building, you're going to see this probably unfold in that way. I think that Justin Fields already has an understanding on how this is going to get done. I think you'll get through the draft. I think that will tell the tale on how the Steelers are building here around their quarterbacks. I think it's going to give those quarterbacks a little bit of confidence on what they've brought in and what they already currently have. And then I think the Pittsburgh Steelers and Omar Khan are going to be able to figure out something salary cap-wise, salary-wise, to be able to make that work for Justin Fields. And if you're Omar Khan, you're not worried about going into 2025 with 2 solid quarterbacks, because I feel like you can make it work one way or another, because I think he's that good at the cap. I think he has that kind of an understanding to where he could flip things around and make it all work out. So if you're a fan, don't be so overly concerned with that cap number, because the Steelers are going to be able to make it work. Only concern yourself with it if you see that team in absolute cap hell. That's when you start to worry about it and start to wonder what the general manager and their cap team is doing there. That's when you start to worry about it. But right now, Omar Khan doesn't do that. And the Pittsburgh Steelers hover around the same era all the time. They kind of hover around, being on the max, but yet still have a little bit of wiggle room, and they always are just right about there. So stay confident in that and allow this to continue to transpire and build and grow. But I think the Pittsburgh Steelers know exactly what they're doing in terms of the cap and exactly how to manipulate it in ways to free up the money that they are going to need in order to secure their future. And I don't think that they would let that opportunity pass. But again, guys, let's start to break this down and wrap it up a little bit. The Pittsburgh Steelers know exactly, I think, what their long-term plan is. I just think you're not going to see it all transpire and take shape until after the draft. I think that is when the Pittsburgh Steelers will offer Justin Fields a different contract other than that 5th-year option. And I think that'll give Justin Fields the opportunity to sit back and say to himself, where do I get valued the most? Where am I going to have the best opportunity? Is denying this and heading into 2025 as a free agent my best option long term in terms of success? Or is it, hey, I want to go into 2025, be a free agent, and go out there, and somebody will pay me. Somebody will cash me out. And it's just going to all be about the money. And I think if you're Justin Fields, that would be a stupid move financially and career-wise. I think it'd be career suicide. I think if you're Justin Fields, you need to remain with a more steady franchise. You've already been with a franchise that wasn't steady, that changes too much, that didn't give you the tools in order to succeed. Now you sit with the Pittsburgh Steelers, a franchise that's been known to be steady, that's been more stable over the years. And I think if you're Justin Fields, that's the opportunity that you want to take. And I think that you take a little bit money now to gain a hell of a lot more money down the road. And I think that it would make your career prosper. And I think it would really get you back on track as a professional quarterback inside of the NFL. So that would be, in my eyes, the smartest move for Justin Fields. Then you look at Russell Wilson. I think you just got to play your heart out, play lights out, play as best as you can. Not worry about the outside. Not worry about what they're doing with Justin Fields' contract, not what they're doing with anything else. I think you just need to play your heart out and figure it out later and see where 2025 takes you. You are at the stage of your career to where you could go, flip around a couple places, have a chance to win a Super Bowl with good rosters if need be. If you play really well, you're going to be really coveted on the market and free agency. Teams are going to be battling for you. You're going to make more money and maybe have a chance to go somewhere else and have another chance to play with a good team. Or you could take a hometown discount and try to stay with the Pittsburgh Steelers and say, hey, man, I played here last year in 2024. We had great success. I'm going to continue that. We're going to take a little bit less money because I want Justin here. I want the team built around me, and I want that all to work out. And I'll take a little bit less money just in order to stay here and be part of this team and chase a couple Lombardi trophies here toward the end of his career and really cement his legacy. And even if Russell Wilson comes back and Justin Fields is back in 2025, I don't think that would create any tension because I think that both realize the long-term end game. I think that will be the way this all plays out. So it wouldn't be a bad thing for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I think that they're going to have these guys for a little bit farther beyond 2024. I think that they're going to figure out how to get this done. And unless, barring disaster, barring major injury to Russell Wilson, something like that, I think you're going to see Justin Fields sit, learn, and bide his time. And perhaps maybe in 2025, that's when you see the reemergence of Justin Fields. Perhaps later in the year in 2024, you see Justin Fields if Russell Wilson isn't playing up to the level the Pittsburgh Steelers expect him to play. Maybe Mike Tomlin doesn't wait like he waited last year and watch Mitchell Trubisky just take beating after beating instead of inserting Mason Rudolph to try to get the season back on track. Maybe Mike Tomlin learned from that lesson, that valuable lesson that he was taught. We'll see how this goes, guys, but definitely, what is there? Options, as the con artist always has options. And I think the Pittsburgh Steelers and their quarterback contracts, their quarterback situation will just do what? Play itself out. It'll work itself out long term. you will see the Pittsburgh Steelers just allow this to grow. Let it grow organically. See where it takes them. And I think the first key to this whole puzzle is going to be exactly what Justin Fields decides to do. Whether he does an extension or he sits and says, nope, I want that 50-year option. That's the only thing I'm doing. If not, let me walk in free agency. And if that's the case, maybe the Pittsburgh Steelers just figure out a way to get rid of him and trade him, or maybe they just figure out, hey, we'll let him walk in 2025. We'll keep him for this year, but we will put our eggs with Russell Wilson right now and try to win right now with a veteran quarterback. So again, guys, they have options. They have more of a long-term option. They have more of a right now option, and that is all you can ask for from your general manager. And I think he's played this absolutely perfectly. He's played his hand perfectly, and we will continue to watch how this season unfolds and how this off season continues to unfold, and we will have a much clearer picture here pre-May 2 of exactly what the Pittsburgh Steelers are thinking here heading into the future of this franchise. All right, guys, let's wrap this up. We will be back tonight at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on Mic Drop Sports as we go live for Steel City Live, our daily live show that you guys have given us an amazing response to. So we will be back again tonight with that, and we'll be back tomorrow with our daily upload. So hopefully you enjoyed this conversation about the quarterback room. I know it was a little bit of a longer show for us, but hopefully you enjoyed it and kind of cleared up a little bit some of the things that we're thinking here on how this will all unfold for your Pittsburgh Steelers at the quarterback position. So until next time, guys, I'm Jason. This is Mic Drop Sports. Peace.